Yo, what's up everybody? How's it going today? So it's Wednesday, October the 11th. Cheers to you. So just to let everybody know, I'm still on vacation till about October the 20th. Took my parents to Hawaii. Well-deserved vacation, and especially while there's downtime in the current market right now. And these types of market conditions currently, it's not the type of environment that I want to be trading in. So I'm going to give you guys a very detailed technical analysis update today from the cruise ship that I'm on the Royal Caribbean. So thank you very much for the patience. It has been much appreciated. And especially this time off, it's been very well needed because leading up from the bull market throughout the entire bear market year last year, it was extremely stressful, especially in Q1, Q2, and early Q3 this year. So we're going to give you guys a very detailed technical analysis, continuing off where I left off yesterday. So yesterday, if you were looking at my post, I was implying heavily that I was in a short position and also bearish from the $27,250 range I was going to break. So I'm right now in a $250,000 position with about, I think, 9 Bitcoins short from 27,600. So I'm up a pretty substantial amount today, which pretty much paid for my cruise in one single day trade, which is awesome. And I'm going to go over the different scenarios where I believed it was bearish and the specific targets that we could reach. So I'm going to close the camera now that you guys have seen me. So let's back up right now to the 3-day chart. Okay, if you take a look at the 3-day chart from the most basic technical analysis perspective of trend lines, you're going to see this gigantic sloped trend line that has been forming since June. So this has been holding for a period of about 111 days now, so slightly over 3.5 months. And you can see based off of the wicks, there's been many different bull trapped regions. Whenever you're drawing a trend line, never draw it from tip to tip of the wicks. Always draw it on the best time frame where it goes body to body while accounting for specific wicks that poke to the upside that will be considered as bull trapped regions. So as you can see here, we hit it many times on a lower time frame. We see that we're getting a lower high each time we're impacting this specific trend line. So you see a lower high there, lower high here, and the third lower high, which was the signal for me to enter on a third confirmation of a break attempt that ended up failing. And you can see that there's been some major capitulation going on here. We have a bullish pin bar near the top there, followed by a spinning top there. And on the 3-day, we get another spinning top. On a 4-day, we get a huge bearishly engulfing candle. So it was leading up to many different factors that were indicating that a major downtrend was going to occur. So right now, I have a lot of cash on hand. If you guys have been following my posts, I ended up liquidating the majority, not majority, but about 30% of my longer term holdings. So it has been severely diminished because I believe that there's one more capitulation period that is most likely going to occur based off of the total market cap of crypto that has been bleeding, based off of the total 2, which is all of the market cap minus Bitcoin, and also total 3, which is the market cap minus Bitcoin and Ethereum. So, and there's another metric that I'm using, which is the total 3 market cap minus USDT divided by Bitcoin. So these factors right here are indicating to me that it's most likely going to drop. Right now I'm in a public place and I'm speaking, right? But people are looking at me like, what the fuck is he talking for? It's like, Jesus Christ, go away to a non-public place if you don't want to hear people speak. Sorry, an old lady just got up, like she was so pissed off. Like, why is this guy talking? I'm like, dude, it's a public place, fuck off. Sorry to say that. Okay, so the next possible target that we're likely going to hit is obviously this low here in July. See that? Or sorry, in September. So you see that on September the 23rd here, or the 25th. We ended up impacting it many times all the way to the 27th. So is it logical for us to conclude that a $26,000 hit is going to be a very likely target? Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. That 26,000 is going to be hit. So if I were to take my profit around that particular region, and my entry is around 27,600 there, I can't load up my Binance because I don't want to use a VPN right now. So I'd be up about 5.6% on a $250,000 position. So That's a really good $12,500 profit that I intend to take, which literally paid for my parents' entire vacation. So I've been swinging this position since October the 4th, and today is now the 11th, so that's a 6-day, 7-day swing actually. So 7-day swing for a $13,000 profit. I think that's pretty reasonable. I have not taken any other trades beyond this. I do firmly believe it's going to hit that target, and eventually I do believe that we are going to challenge the $25,200 resistance that turned into support. So when that 26K region breaks, it would be very logical to assume that the next possible support is down over here, right? 25,200 or $28,000 range, or even around here if you account for some bull trap region, 25,200. Right there is a perfect place where I would anticipate the next support zone if $26,000 breaks, and perhaps even by the end of the year we could see some lower prices than 25,200. I'm wanting a range of between $23,000 to $25,000 to start dollar cost averaging more Bitcoins. I've shed the majority of my altcoin positions, but not my Bitcoin positions. So because of that, I've got a lot of cash on hand now. And now I have the opportunity to purchase a lot of Bitcoins. And just remember what happens during a bull market rally, okay? Money is taken out of the crypto altcoin market and put into a Bitcoin market, okay? So once the Bitcoin market ends up going up, the market dominance for Bitcoin, the total dominance goes up as well. So we could see anywhere from 60 to 70% Bitcoin dominance, and then altcoins markets are slowly going to bleed. And usually what happens afterwards is people will sell off their Bitcoins when they believe it's reached somewhat of a peak, and then they'll start buying into the altcoin market. That's usually the cycle of what happens, and then the altcoin season will start. So we see that a 4-day MACD crossover was attempted, but the MACD crossover was shut down fairly quickly with about 6 hours remaining, and we're seeing a tick to the downside already. So these are false indicators, meaning that we believe that they have a chance to go upwards, but it ends up capitulating to the downside instead. So now if you take a look on the 2-day, we see that the histogram has made a gigantic change in momentum with a huge stair stepping to the downside, okay? So based off of MACD and RSI, we do not look too bullish. We see that the RSI can barely break above the 60 ranges. We see massively gigantic bearishly engulfing type of candles or pin bars to the downside. So based off of just indicators of MACD and RSI and price action and slope trendline support, we are seeing a very bearish momentum to the downside. So right now is not a wise opportunity to take a long position. So for a day trading position right now, we're going to talk about some opportunities that could come up. So on the weekly chart here, we're seeing momentum still curvature to the downside. So with this curvature to the downside, I just cannot see any type of short-term relief rally. And if we take a look on the 2-week as well, we're starting to see this type of harami candle starting to form already. So the harami candle is formed with a slightly large red candle that's inside of the previous green bars that you see. So 25,200. Let's take a look at the BTC Index here. So let's go to BTC. Whenever you guys want to take a look at the all-time, just type in BTC Index, and this will give you a history of the all-time. Okay, so this is not on a specific exchange. This is a compilation of all of the exchanges that's integrated into one. So let's take a look at, first of all, the 50 moving average and also the 200 moving averages. So the yellow line is a representation of the 50 exponential moving average. You see that? On the monthly, we're going to see that it's hovering exactly where we want it to be. It's been down a few times on the negative side. It's been positive a few times already. Okay, so in all of 2022, the majority of it, we were on the downside. And the way that EMAs work is it's either going to oscillate above it heavily or on the negative side, okay, above or below. And usually it's going to act as a band that will allow, sorry, I'm on log right now. Okay, it's going to act as a band that will eventually snap back to the middle. We can see that the 50 moving average of the monthly has been held traditionally since 2013. Therefore, we can assume that it's going to be a very good measurement or gauge of how these markets could trend above or below it. So right now we see that the monthly chart is exactly in between there. It's not above it, it's not below it. We've bounced above it many times. On the weekly chart, on the 50, we see the same thing where it's oscillating above and below it as well. So now I'm going to go to the 200. So So on the 200 on the weekly, that's a really good measurement. So the blue line there is the 200 exponential moving average. And this one here is showing relief in terms of around March. Okay, around March, it broke back above it, and now it is held many times. But as you can see, we are getting lower highs every single time. See? So as you can see, the lower highs are forming, lower highs. And we're starting to pressure this 200 moving average. And in my opinion, sometime before 2024, we're going to find momentum to break to the downside, either with a wick or even with a candle formation that will close below it. Just one last capitulation. And the major reason I assume this is because, well, maybe there will be a Fed pivot. Maybe the Feds will pivot. Maybe Gary Gensler, the SEC chair, will get fired eventually. Maybe all these security coins labeled by Gary Gensler will be alleviated by the court, and they're no longer going to be considered as security, such as Algorand, which is the majority of my holdings right now. So Algorand is fairly vital to pivot. As we've seen XRP pivot, Gary Gensler lost that court battle. It pivoted. We thought that there was going to be a major rally, but there was capitulation right back to exactly where it began, and even lower to the downside. So until the Feds pivot in America, you're not going to get any type of momentum going to the upside. But you also have to consider the fact that Bitcoin has been outperforming many different metrics before. When you compare it to, for example, gold or any other economy or standard, it has outperformed it extremely heavily, and especially with the Bitcoin halving coming up in April as well. So with that coming up and halving, it would be very wise historically to start accumulating Bitcoin in massive amounts, because, well, for all the people like myself that has been in it for a long time, like Ethereum at $1 and it got up to like 1400, you guys know exactly based off of precedent how Bitcoin can perform. And then everybody who didn't get into it, they're just going to watch it on mainstream news and be like, fuck, I wish I got in. That's what happens every year, right? 8 years in crypto now, and the people that are getting in early are the people that will be rewarded. The people that are sensing the fear and the blood in the streets and that are capitalizing on these movements. People in 2009, when the economy crashed near the bottom or near the end, people who bought at the end of 2008 that didn't fear the market as it crashed, they were able to capitalize extremely heavily on it. So I really urge you guys to consider dollar cost averaging, perhaps near the end of the year or even early in the year as Bitcoin reaches its halving. So I just wanted to give you guys a short 15-minute update of my position that I have right now. It's a fairly smaller position because I'm not exactly home right now, and also my long-term outlook and short-term outlook of exactly what I expect to happen. So Q4 traditionally in October and November has been historically a fairly bullish month. It's always been in the green. September in the past 7 years have always been bearish, but this year we actually finished off at a 5% positive for the first time ever. So just because a trend has held historically, does not imply that it's going to suffer the same fate. So perhaps Bitcoin could be bullish near the end of the year, but I do not foresee that anytime soon, early in the Q4. So thank you very much for watching my video, like always, guys, and I will provide you with more updates as we cruise into the new year, and haha, no pun intended since I'm on a cruise ship. So have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. Make sure you have cash on hand. It is the most important thing to have right now. I think that altcoins are going to bleed heavily as well. I'll give you guys an altcoin market analysis sometime in the future, but if you take a look at all of the top 100 coins right now, except for Solana, the majority of them have all formed a lower low. Like, for example, Polkadot, for example, Cardano. You take a look at these coins and they're not outperforming the market right now, and they're moving in either correlation to Bitcoin or they're moving against Bitcoin even further to the negative side. So stay safe, everybody, and I'll keep you updated soon. Bye now.